Hey, it's the Phonics Guy here. Thanks for tuning in for my fourth video. You know, the first three were a little dry, I must admit, but we talked about the alphabet, consonants, and the vowel sounds. And now these other videos should be a little bit shorter, and each one of them is going to focus on a specific rule or phonics rule, spelling rule, or maybe a jingle that I've written to help me help the kids to remember some things. But this very first one, I call them they're called Screech Rules in the Pathways to Reading program. I don't know why they're Screech Rules. It's just the name to the little guy that they gave, and they call them Screech Rules. So for me, I use a little purple hand puppet, and I call him Screech, and I tell the kids, hey, this is the Screech Rule. And anytime that I introduce him, I bring Screech out, and Screech teaches the new Screech Rule. But that just gives a little fun, and we might be doing a word, and I might just say, it's a Screech Rule, and the kids will start looking up on the wall to find what rule it is that they need to look at on those. So, but again, a plug for Pathways to Reading, just a great program. It's what a lot of this is about. Check them out, or check out their website at pathwaystoreading.com. So the first Screech Rule that I want to teach you is, when do I use, when a word ends in the k sound, like sick or take, how do I know if I use CK or just use a K? And there's really a pretty simple rule to follow on this. If it takes two letters to make the vowel sound and it ends in K, just use K. So for example, if I have the word book, book takes two letters to make the vowel sound If it takes two letters to make the vowel sound, I just use K. Book. Let me think of another word. If we put an E to the end, if I say bike, it takes two letters to make the vowel sound. I got to have the E to the end to make the I say I. So it takes two letters to make the vowel sound, ends in K, just use a K. If it takes just one letter to make the vowel sound and it ends in K, then I'm going to use CK. So if I use the word sick, one letter to make the vowel sound, I'm going to use CK on that. And this really works on two-syllable words. If I think of a word like tack, tricky, the rule still applies to most of those two-syllable words. So again, what the rule says, if it takes one letter to make the vowel sound, ends in K, use CK. Takes two letters to make the vowel sound, then I just use K. Now, I kind of stress that we say if it takes two letters to make the vowel sound, not two vowels, but two letters. If you tuned into my last video on vowel sounds, for example, on the apartment, on our vowel tone, OR is our vowel sound. If we take all of our vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and put them with the letter R, we get R, and OR. I-R, U-R, E-R to make the sound. O-R for or. A-R makes the R sound. So in this case, it takes two letters to make that vowel sound, or. For example, the word fork, how many letters does it take to make the vowel sound? Two. Ends in K. Just use K. So that's a real simple, the very first Screech Rule that tells us when to use the letter K or to use CK at the end of a word. Now, a lot of times kids will get confused, and if I say the word kick, they'll start thinking, well, there's one letter to make the vowel sound, and I'll get some of this at the beginning of a word. It just happens sometimes. They'll get a little confused, and I can say, I think I'm pretty certain on this one, that this is one of those times that I say, I never start a word with CK. And I'll tell the kids, repeat after me, never start a word with CK. But you'll be surprised. Some of them will get that a little bit confused. Another little rule, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but while we're on the C and the K and everything, is I tell the kids, when a word starts with K and I don't know what to use, always choose C. And I'm pretty sure Pathways is where I picked this up, but it's really scientific. Actually, it's not very scientific. If I look in the dictionary, and I'll show the kids this, I'll say, here's all the letter K words. And there's typically in a children's dictionary maybe 5 pages of words that start with a K. But there's anywhere from 70 to 80 pages that start with the letter C. Now, granted, sometimes the letter C says S, and that's another rule we'll talk about later. But I just tell the kids, when a word starts with K and I don't know what to use, choose C. That's always a good guess. And the rule we'll learn later on will help to eliminate when it's not a C. But anyway, that's our first screech rule, the CK or just use K rule. Until next time, happy phonics, and we'll see you later.